Cast your memory back to a simpler time, a time when the best GPU on the market had a whopping 256 megabytes of VRAM, with clock speeds in the dizzying heights of 350 megahertz. A year where Coldplay were trying to fix you. Gwen Stefani wasn't a hollaback girl. Batman was just beginning, and Johnny Depp was slowly killing off children one by one in a chocolate factory. It was also the year that Battlefield 2 and Quake 4 dominated PC gaming. But then, out of a cloud of CS gas, rose SWAT 4. SWAT 4 took the squad tactics of Battlefield and shrunk the arena down to small confined spaces. Marksman skills were secondary to CQB tactics, room clearance, and most importantly, remembering to bring a gas mask, as one guy would always have CS gas and not tell you. SWAT 4 managed to be both engaging in single player, but also a rewarding, if slightly terrifying at times, multiplayer experience. And while SWAT 4 lives on in the hearts of most who played it and still to this day receives a lot of love and attention from a wonderfully active modding community, it is always going to be limited by the engine and design of 2005. While knocking at the door using a mirror gun with a C2 chaser is ready or not. This newly released, if still very much alpha, Tactical FPS from Void Interactive has managed to capture the same feelings of stress and terror whilst also maintaining the wonderfully engaging multiplayer experience and turned it up to 11. Bring order to chaos on well-designed large-scale maps that have a heady mix of tight corridors and wide open spaces to keep you and your squad on its toes. Mix that with the ability to play different modes such as hostage rescue, active shooter and bomb disposal, and you get a decent amount of replayability. Whether you choose a direct approach by blasting through the doors with C2 and breaching shotguns, or maybe you want to take a more grounded approach and implement door peeking and lock picking skills, Ready or Not offers a variety of solutions to choose from. This extends to the gear you decide to bring along with you. Whether you bring night vision goggles and door wedges, or gas masks and CS grenades. Perhaps you sacrifice one of your squad to poor visibility and slow-paced meandering of a ballistic shield as you take a more frontal approach. The variety doesn't just stop at supplementary gear choice either. Your weapons, both lethal and less than lethal, can be chosen and modified to your liking. Some restrictions apply, obviously. But offering more than one way to skin a cat, or in this case raid a meth lab, the game has a lot to offer. And while you may become somewhat familiar with the maps, you will also have to deal with some procedurally generated blockades and enemy spawns. Talking about enemies, let's quickly talk about the knife-wielding lunatic in the room, shall we? So with the latest update, as of writing this, they added the aforementioned lunatics. These people are unpredictable, and just when you get them to drop their gat, they seemingly surrender only to turn face and rush you frantically with a knife. I have personally lost a handful of squad members this way, and will likely lose more in the future, so be on your guard and stay frosty. The AI will enlist a mixture of tactics, and while they often stay in sentry or patrol mode, will also decide to go for a wander around the map. This can make finding the last guy a little tedious, but also means you need to keep your guard up and watch your back at all times. One of the benefits of the well-crafted audio design is directional sound, so listen out for footsteps and other audio clues to give you that little edge. While the game in general isn't exactly a walk in the park, when teamed with competent squad, it should be challenging whilst relatively doable. The single player experience can feel a little too easy at times, with the AI being able to stack and breach doors with relative ease. But the squad management and strategies you employ will be slightly different than a full multiplayer experience. Currently, there is no PvP mode available, which will obviously be a downside for some. However, for myself, I'm okay with it. With the emphasis on realism first, Void Interactive have started laying the foundations of a wonderful tactical shooter, whilst also embracing the legacy of those beloved games that came before. The plan as of now is to include a story-driven campaign where you will develop your squad and follow the narrative story while you take on ever-increasing odds. Start your journey against standard thieves and drug dealers, but eventually you'll be going head to head with a well-equipped and dangerous domestic terrorists intent on destabilizing the world as you know it. To the victor go the spoils. So grab your gear, squad up, head out in the most tense and exhilarating experience you'll have on PC. Still no run button though.